It's not. Okay. You okay?
I believe so.
Okay.
Notice of this meeting was advertised in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Trueblood?
Present.
Mr. Cartier?
Present.
Mr. Tompkins?
Here.
Ms. Jackson is absent this evening. Mr. Allen?
Present. This meeting is now called to order. Before we get started, this past week we had a resident and former mayor by the name of Mr. Elmer D'Imperio pass away. So before we get started, I'd just like to have a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Closed session resolution number 120-2016. This authorizes council to go into closed session. I already spoke to administration. They have nothing for closed session this evening. Mr. Bear?
I have nothing, Council President.
Moving along, public comment. This portion of the meeting allows the public to comment on anything on the agenda or just in general. Mr. Quinn, Ms. Quinn, and then Mr. Mull.
Also be a public hearing on the ordinance.
Right.
Should say that. So they know.
And for those not aware, there will also be a public hearing on the ordinance number 8-2016, towing.
I just have one question. Under new business, letter C, discussion and possible introduction of an ordinance vacating a portion of Kentucky Trail. Somebody expand on that, please.
Basically, neighboring property owners are requesting that the township vacate the undeveloped portion of Kentucky Trail. If the township vacates the property, an agreement must be made by the adjoining property owners agreeing that the construction will not take place on the vacated property with the exception of the installation of fencing, and that the township will retain all lawful rights to enter the property.
Is this a, excuse me, but this is like a
Paper Street.
I'm sorry?
Paper Street?
What it is, Ann, is I didn't go out there, but I looked at Google Maps to take a look at this to see what it was. It looks like Kentucky goes up to Wisconsin, is it?
Yeah.
Thank you. And dead ends there. It's a T intersection. And there was intent at one time to expand the housing development by the looks of it back behind there.
Okay.
And it never did expand. Is that correct? Pretty close.
And a paper street is a road or street that appears on a map but does not exist in reality.
That's township property.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mull? Can you say that into the microphone? No, I'm fine. Seeing no other public comment?
Well, there's a hand or two.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sir, you'll have to come up.
In relation to the Kentucky Trail improved section, I'm one of the adjoining property owners,
Okay.
and the purpose was to cut down on the illegal dumping and the motorcycle traffic that's racing in and out of the pit. That was the main concern. And both adjoining property owners agreed to close it off to motor vehicle traffic only. Pedestrian traffic will still be, permitted to use it.
Okay.
In case there's any other question. Right now, it's just potholes that hold water and collect garbage, and it's easy access for all the dumping.
Thank you.
Okay?
So, can you actually sign in? Can you write your name and address? And I don't think you stated your name.
William Osner.
Thank you. This portion of the meeting is now closed to public comment. Consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the Township Council and will be enacted by one motion. Should a council member wish to discuss a consent agenda item separately, that item can be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the regular agenda. Council, is there any questions about the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to pull 122, 124, and 125.
Council, is there a motion to approve?
Purchase item number 1.
Under the bill?
Sorry, Ken, I didn't think.
No,
of it.
it's under new business.
New business, purchase over 2,000.
Fire department.
It's okay. I got it.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
I motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Amy, please poll the council.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Jack, you requested to pull resolution number 122-2016.
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing the Community Development Director to submit a grant application to the New Jersey State Department of Transportation for the Byzantsky Emmons Schools Multimodal Improvement Safe Routes Project. The first question I have is this really a grant or is this a loan?
Oh, it's a grant.
It's a grant.
Okay. And is there a, this is a kind of a brief breakout of a, forgive me, a wish list of what we want to try to do. And I know when we've had zoning changes and other things, we've had maps and illustrations and stuff like that to give kind of a better scope of project that what's going to be happening. And I don't see that here. Is that possibly something that can be presented before we vote on this?
Well, there's a description, but it's as far as basically the funding will go, and we're estimating at this point that in this particular phase, we will be able to go from Vincenttown Road to College Drive, and from University over to Yale, that quadrant right there, at the beginning of the development, and then we'll take the next step going forward from College further down University, hopefully being able to take more of that and then bringing in Rateau, parts of Rateau. I believe actually there's a part of Rateau in this particular...
I noticed the thing that caught my eye is First Avenue and Scrapetown Road.
Right. And
that seems to be addressed, and this is something I talked about at the last council meeting with the road project.
And that First Avenue's been on the list for quite some time. We tried it on the last round with the grant. We didn't get the grant on the last application. This application, we're approaching it a little differently, and hopefully some of the other obstacles that were in our way, other grants that were out there lingering that the state wasn't looking favorably on us, have changed because we're starting to see these state grants coming through now.
What were you planning on First Avenue?
Just sidewalks. This whole grant involves sidewalks and tree removals.
I thought I also saw bicycle lanes.
Well, we have
Curbs.
as you know, we have a streetscape, safe streets, not safe streets.
Policy.
Policy, yeah,
Policy.
complete streets policy in place now, so we have to follow that with what we do, and we'll implement what we can in that. But also, we're also looking at additional grants we'll be coming to you with for curb cuts and handicap access to finish the project off.
Yeah, I think there's a couple over by the school that need to be done that weren't done.
Yeah,
over
that
by
actually
Kazansky.
the entire development has to be done, and to bring it in compliance, which we're working to do. And as you know, that's one of our 2 walking districts in the township, so this grant could help us in getting these sidewalks done over there in that neighborhood.
Most of the people drive their kids to school over there. I see it every day. There's very few walkers.
I would not say there's very few walkers. I disagree with you. You may not be looking out as much as you think you are.
I live right in front of the school, Dave.
Well, that tells me a little bit of something.
And I heard something about a street light or some kind of indicator here. What is that?
What number? It's under pay item. Which one are you referring to? It's easier just to say the number.
16. On the first one.
Traffic control. It says signs and drums.
I have no idea what drums are, but this was put together by the engineers, and it brings us in compliance with the grant, the things that they would require us to do in the grant, type of signage, and I don't understand the drums, but
I looked at this. There was a lot of things I didn't quite understand, and that's why I was asking if there was maybe a better scope of project or something that can be presented to the council so that we had a better understanding.
Yeah, if I may, I mean, this is when we apply for something, we have our engineers do some work because we have to pay for the work. But ultimately, if we're successful, there's going to have to be a more detailed rendering and description of the work that will be done and that can be afforded depending on the amount of money that we receive for the grant, and ultimately there'll have to be bid specifications if we have to put this out, and things like sidewalks and curbs we have to put out for contracts.
Right.
So those additional details we don't always have at the beginning because we like to be able to make the applications spending less money than we would otherwise have to. The council will still have an opportunity to accept the grant if it's awarded, an opportunity to award contracts and receive more specific information as to what will go into the project and what won't.
Jack, do you have any more questions about the grant?
Tagging on to what you were saying about the engineering costs, we're going to incur engineering costs before we get this grant and start spending that grant money. Estimated amount for that engineering cost we're going to have to look forward to paying for. I think that's like the 5th whereas.
there is no additional engineering costs until we're awarded the grant. If we get the grant, then we'll have to fully design and bid the project and do construction management, which will all come after the fact.
5th whereas says, in reference to of same, it is necessary for the Township Council of the Township of Pemberton to authorize the Township Engineer to provide all required reports, narratives, estimates, and maps required for said funding consideration. So that tells me that they're going to be expending time, and whenever they spend time, they charge us for that.
It says preliminary engineering estimate. It's included in the graph,
Yeah.
Okay.
in the chart, rather. there a motion to approve resolution number 122-2016?
So moved.
I second to approve motion 123.
2.
122, excuse me.
Amy, please poll the council.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
Not happy with the answers I got. This is a neighborhood I live in, and I do know that there needs to be work done there, so I'm going to vote yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Okay. Resolution number 124-2016. Jack? And for anybody in the audience, just to sort of tee it up, this is a resolution requesting from the Division of Local Government Services to insert a $180,000 grant money the township received from the Burlington County into the 2016 budget. So this is a grant.
Yeah, this is real easy, Jason. On the second page for the budget amendment certification form, it looks like fiscal year. I would have thought it would be 2016 and not 2014. It's like the fourth line down. It's at the top, near the top of the page.
Thank you. I'll advise the CFO that he needs to change that.
Is there a motion to approve resolution number 124-2016?
I'll make a motion to approve it if it's corrected.
I'll second the motion as corrected.
Amy, please poll the council.
Mr. Tompkins?
Yes.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Jack, you requested to pull number 125-2016.
Yeah, this is for the purchase of a Jeep for our code enforcement. We're going to be paying for this Jeep from a trust fund.
The trust account, yes.
Yeah, a construction trust.
This vehicle is for use of by the construction official / building subcode official. All expenses with respect to the Uniform Construction Code expenses come from the Uniform Construction Code Trust Fund.
Okay.
All of the fees go into the trust fund, the expenses come from there.
Okay, and we currently have one new Jeep that they're utilizing with code enforcement, correct, or newer?
Code enforcement and the Uniform Construction Code are two completely separate things. The Uniform Construction Code are building permits, plumbing permits, electrical permits. So we have two employees who work under the Uniform Construction Code. We have the construction official, who also functions as our building subcode official, and we have one clerical staff. The construction official needs to go out and inspect properties with regard to the issuance of permits. So we currently have an old vehicle for the construction official. The plan is to purchase a new vehicle for the construction official, and then it'll allow us to take the old vehicle and provide that as a hand-me-down to code enforcement, because we have 3 code enforcement officers and only 2 vehicles in code enforcement. So in a sense, it takes care of 2 things at once.
And we couldn't utilize one of our older police cars like we've done in the past for this?
I don't know that we have any vehicle available, and typically those vehicles have 150, 200,000 miles and probably cost more to maintain than it's worth.
Okay. Answers my questions.
Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve resolution number 125, 2016.
Second.
Amy, please poll the council.
Ms. Trueblood?
Yes.
Mr. Cartier?
Yes.
Mr. Tompkins?
No.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Ordinances for second reading and/or public hearing. Ordinance number 8-2016, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton amending Chapter 170 of the Code of the Township of Pemberton entitled Towing. This portion of the meeting is now open to the public. Mr. Mall.
Hello, Council. I'm Andrew Mall, owner of Randy's Pro Auto Repair. Since the last meeting, I received an ordinance on Tuesday the 5th, the day after the meeting, with tow fee changes and 39 other new changes that I didn't know about. This was not the correct ordinance that they sent to me, as the solicitor possibly mistakenly put the changes on the wrong ordinance that I'd never seen before. The changes were made again. I received the correct ordinance on May 9th, numbered 8-2016. I guess that's probably the ordinance you have in front of you now. Hopefully everybody has a copy. The original ordinance, 2-2016, was adopted to regulate towing in Pemberton Township, and because the state of New Jersey put into action a Predatory Towing Act, which was enacted so predator towers could not take cars from parking lots or people's home without the consent of the owner of the car. That's what this ordinance is for. 2 months ago, I came in front of you asking if we could raise the prices to up to date with the economy, and basically you all agreed. So that was good. It seems, in my opinion, retaliation against the towers for wanting this change by the business administrator and the mayor has made 39 other changes to the ordinance. Most of these, I believe, are overregulation. Overregulation of anything causes confusion. It also costs the residents of Pemberton Township lots of money in legal fees. I say we make this ordinance simple, with small changes that the towers requested that you have already agreed upon. Remove the over-regulations and adopt this ordinance. On the ordinance, you also have in there 5 free tows, which we already have 4 free tows, and towers really want no free tows so they can make a living. Just because we apply for the contract doesn't mean we're making tons of money. I think you're under the impression that we make a lot of money. We don't make a lot of money. That's why we have to have so many contracts, so we can make a living, run our daily business, pay our employees, pay our insurance. Okay?
Mr. Mo, quick question.
Yes.
And I know that the number will fluctuate based on, just life and the year. But approximately how many tows does your company get the chance to do per year?
Under this contract.
Under Pemberton Township? Probably around 200 per contract, so that's in a 3-year. Yeah.
200 tows?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah. 200 tows in 3 years won't pay for 4 trucks and the guys to do it. I need the other towing contracts from insurance companies, state police, state of New Jersey, other boroughs, other municipalities, and that's how we make a living. It's not from just one. If it was just one, there would be no way we could have so many trucks. Also, as we discussed before, we would like 3 changes that, besides removing all the over-regulation, and that would be not to open 9 to 1 on Saturdays, as the ordinance says. State statute says weekdays only, and it does say that in the beginning of this ordinance, but in the latter part of it, it says 9 to 1. We would also like for when they're paying for the car, to have them pay the tow bill before they take items out of the car. Now, items out of the car doesn't mean personal belongings, doesn't mean they can't come and take their wallet or their pills. Naturally, they can take that. It means stripping the car and leaving it there for junk. So that was the second thing we wanted. Third thing we want is going back to making us tow 4 free. We don't want 5. We accepted 4. 0 would be better, but naturally we're going to get paid for the heavy duty. That's in the contract and in the ordinance. But it doesn't say anything about medium duty, which is dump trucks, utility vehicles, equipment. We would like to set a price on that and not tow them for free. This ordinance is so confusing that even today I did a free tow for Pemberton Township, and Pemberton Township calls me up and say, we got a vehicle we need picked up. I says, yeah, no problem, we'll get on it. I says, but do me a favor, you gotta call Central Dispatch, because if I just towed for you, Pemberton Township does not keep records of vehicles towed. So I says, you gotta call dispatch. That's in the ordinance. And he says, yeah, no problem. So the police don't know what's in this ordinance, and the workers don't know what's in this ordinance. That's how confusing it is. All these changes that are made in it, it's like if I miss a tow call, I'm going to get suspended, or I miss a phone call. It says right in there that I can't miss any calls. But yet in the same ordinance it says if you miss a call, we go to the next tower. That should be it. It shouldn't be a penalty of suspending or terminating a tower because they miss a phone call or they come late. There's things that happen. In the wintertime, tow trucks don't like to start when it's real cold out. Now, we've never had an issue with being more than 30 minutes late. But I'm saying it's going to happen. And so we can't suspend the 3 towing companies for coming late. There's got to be warnings. Say, hey, we're giving you a warning. You know, don't come late again. Try not to come late. Try not to come late. Be nice about it. Try not to become late.
But you already know that 30 minutes is built in the ordinance. So
yes.
You know if you show up after 30 minutes, technically, I mean, you know that you're late.
Yes, but things happen. You know you're supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock every morning, but sometimes you don't make it at 8 o'clock because things happen. Something happens to your car, traffic, things happen. Now, we can't leave it earlier because we don't know if things are going to happen. I'm just saying, things happen. With these phones, things happen. And I've got the best service there is. I got Verizon. But sometimes I get drop calls, or the call doesn't come through, or all of a sudden it beeps and it says I got a missed call. When that happens, I call it back. Okay? But the dispatcher, if they don't get a hold of you, or the next tow truck driver in line, which realistically it's probably not going to happen again, but if it does, and we put it in the ordinance, just go on to the next tow truck. Give them a warning, 3 warnings. You know, don't just suspend and humiliate the tow company for missing a phone call. And this ordinance, it just constantly says business administrator can suspend or terminate.
Andy, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
You made reference to a medium-sized tow earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Dump trucks, stuff like that. Would that fall into the category of trucks weighing 2.5 tons to 5 tons?
Yes.
That is in the ordinance.
Yeah, but we don't get paid for township vehicles weighing that much. Township-owned vehicles.
That's a good point. We just
Yeah.
paid $2,400 for one of those in the wintertime.
Exactly. Well, that was probably heavy duty, I'm thinking. If
I
they
think it was a
paid
dump truck full of
$2,400.
salt.
Yeah, so that's a heavy duty. That probably weighed, 10 tons, something like that. But I'm just saying this whole thing is longer than the Constitution of the United States. It's everything is about laws, statutes, and penalizing us with termination and suspension. We don't have problems in the township with that. If I miss a call, Ridge Road will back me up. He won't have a problem with it. It's my loss if I miss a call. If I miss a call, I lose $105 during the day, $125 at least at night. So he's happy that I missed the call. The call will get done. The vehicle will get removed. It shouldn't be penalized because we miss it. We penalize ourselves for missing it, not getting paid on the call because we missed it. But it doesn't happen a lot. It's probably happened 5 times in the last 3 years. And that's it. So I would like you to vote no for this ordinance because of all the over-regulations. I'm happy with what we agreed on in the last 2 to 3 months. My changes were minimal. Percentage-wise, they were small, maybe except for the heavy duty, which, I don't have a heavy duty. So, neither does Ridge Road or Craig, so it doesn't really benefit them. But also see in here that you want to charge the heavy-duty towing company that we asked to join us $900 also. Am I reading that correct?
What section?
It's actually on 170-6 under equipment. And the new line that you added was, any such contracts with other companies referenced above shall be subject to fees and charges established in this ordinance.
Well, doesn't that just mean they can't charge?
The rates that they can charge.
The rates they can charge.
Okay.
That's what that means.
That's good if that's what that means. Yeah.
Yeah, because I had brought that up in the earlier council meeting, Andy. Remember, I was kind of concerned because of some of the prices.
Okay. That's good, because that one was scary. We wouldn't have done good with that one. So that's basically it. I guess you've read all the notes. I don't know if all the council members got it.
Yes, Amy circulated it.
Yeah.
To
Very
all the
good.
council.
Thank you.
Our great clerk.
Yeah. All right. I thank you very much, and you see it the way that the voters of Pemberton Township see it. Thank you.
Does anyone from council have any questions for Mr. Moe before he sits down? Okay. Thank you. Sir?
Good evening, Council. Joe Elmendorf, Bridge Auto and Repair, Wakehurst Road.
I just received this revised revision of the ordinance. This isn't the ordinance that originally I signed a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever it may have been. I just went online, off the wall, picked a couple different municipalities, some local, some a little further, Manchester, right out our back door, Wall Township, maybe a little further, and pulled up their towing rates, okay? In here it says, you know, in this new revision, they want to state a dollar amount. The cleanup includes wenching, the whole 9 yards, okay? If you have a vehicle that's drivable, not a problem. That is a basic tow. You got a car that the suspension's ripped out, that's not a basic tow. You got a car that's overturned, it's not a basic tow. There's no provisions in there stating anything like that. So there's no dollar amount. Every other municipality has a dollar amount. Car's on its roof, this is what you charge, a flat rate. I can pass you this out, and I don't mind coming up. These are to Manchester. This is, you can flip through, that's just highlighted there. So it actually shows the actual tow for a basic tow. Shows an uprighted car, this is what you charge. If it takes you 3 hours to get that car up, it takes you 3 hours. If it takes you an hour, it takes you a half hour. No matter what it is, this is what you get paid. As far as cleanup, there's a cleanup in there with the absorbent. You get the actual time to clean it up plus the absorbent.
Can't turn that on.
There's different prices for motorcycles versus a car. Okay? Motorcycle, even you got to put a motorcycle on a jig to get it up on thing. It's a lot harder than doing a car. Okay? Got to be more careful unless, obviously, the motorcycle was in a wreck. Okay? Still got to be careful. You got a Harley that gets impounded, you got $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 bike. Okay?
Or more.
You drive a Harley or any motorcycle, they're meticulous. They want that like it was delivered to them the day it was brand new. Put on your tow truck, they're going to hound you. Okay? It's a little bit more kick gloves. But there's provisions that I showed you regarding, you know, changes that Andy discussed last time about increases. As far as towing the township-owned vehicles, again, you got a police car versus you got one of Pemberton Township school buses. Okay? Two completely different animals. Okay? So, Pemberton Township school buses go down, do they not?
That wouldn't fall under this
Well,
ordinance.
Pemberton Township school buses get towed. All right.
It's a different legal
All right.
entity.
One of the heavy duty tow trucks out back, whatever. Okay. So there are some things in there that are pertinent that should be changed or even addressed or looked at. Okay. In here it says in the thing, no car should be released without a written release from Pemberton Township. I just had a motor vehicle breakdown, kid had a flat tire. I got a verbal release from the police officer at the site. Okay? I wrote it right on the tow bill. It's pulled up, know nothing about it. I documented it. Why, as a police officer, doesn't he know what's in this ordinance? Shouldn't he give me a release, or at least give the owner a release? You know what I mean? I got a verbal release. I said, you're not a problem. You can take the kid's car, fix his tire, he can be on his way. I'm giving you a verbal release. There's no hold on this car. But it got called, it was towed for a disabled vehicle on the side of the road with a flat tire. So, you know what I mean? I mean, we all got to be on the same page with it. That's just last week. So, you know, again, the police release is an issue because I get a verbal release from a police officer, but that's not what the ordinance says. I call up, they don't know nothing. You know what I mean? So, there are some things that have to be addressed as far as that goes.
Mr. Elmendorf, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Since you said you researched some of these other towns'
Oh, yeah.
ordinances.
You can go
Were
right
they-
on. You can go right on. There's a website that has every ordinance of every municipality out there. Go ahead.
Trust whatever you say, okay?
Go ahead.
Are they all novels?
They're pretty much Bibles, just like
No, novels. I mean, like.
Oh no,
50
not as
pages.
hard, but cut and dry. If you look at them, it's cut and dry.
So
It's
2 or 3
this,
pages
that,
and that's
this,
it?
it's that. It's not 15 pages.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was trying to say.
The Wall Township's 2 pages.
Probably a price list, and that's
Yeah,
about it.
price list, and that's it.
But just 2 pages, can't that be, somewhere down the line, might that end up being a problem?
I don't know, you know, that's all I could go into, you know what I mean, as far as that go. Then with Manchester Township, it's a little bit more detailed with, you know, describing what a tower is, the daytime and night times. Their hours of operation are from 9 to 4 on some of them, okay? You get in there 8 o'clock in the morning, you got customers waiting, you got an irate gentleman because you towed his car over the weekend. The Monday morning, your shop's loaded with your customer work. That guy's screaming, wants to see his car. Oh, yeah, I need to get my car. I need to get my car. Okay, wait a minute. I have customers here, okay? It's not my fault that your car got impounded. You know what I mean? So we're going back on that. That's 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 to 4, a little bit more respectable. Gives us time to get our customer flow in, okay? Not that a tow is not our customer, but on an impound, it's not our customer. We'll never see that person again. Okay? As far as Saturday's operation, it states in the ordinance that Pemberton Township's got to be available to go to the storage lot 24/7, not a problem. As far as being open on Saturday, a phone call could get you right in, just like a phone call could get you right in to for a customer to pick up a car. You know, I don't have a problem being open 9 to 1 on Saturday, but when there's other ordinances out there, you know, they're dictating to us that we have to be in business, you know, on a Saturday. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't work on Saturdays. Some do. You know, the township's not open on Saturday. So, you know what I mean? You know, again, I'm showing you these towing fees and rates. You know, I'm a little discouraged.
You might want to have blacked out some of this Manchester one.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's good and bad. I mean, I just...
Application fee of $500.
Yeah, right.
Licensing fee of $3,000 for a 3-year license.
Right, exactly.
There's some other costs here that we don't have.
Right, I understand that. But I'm talking about towing rates, you know what I mean?
But it's still a cost to do business.
Right, exactly. So, you know what I mean? So, but it's not just Manchester. You know, there's other ones out there. I couldn't get Plumstead Township. I couldn't get North Hanover, and the state police is all over the page. Different different townships, they charge different rates. You know, I just picked up a car in Manchester Township. It was there 2 days. Cost me $600 to get it out of there.
Well, I was trying to make a point. Some folks think that, you know, the $300 a year and the 5 free or is it 5 free?
Right.
I don't want to miss.
Currently 4.
Yeah.
You know, the number of free tows, a lot of folks think that that's too much, but you know, here is a little bit more.
I didn't gripe. I'm not griping about that, but you know, you go to McDonald's, you buy a 4-piece Happy Meal, you get one sauce with it. You want extra sauce, you got to pay for that. Okay. So if I'm doing a tow, I'm getting paid for that tow. I got to do oil dry, a heavy spill. You know what I mean? I'm doing more work than what's entitled in that $95. You know, that's all me. Anything additional, and I'm not saying to be astronomical with it. Just be fair. That's all. Just be fair. So. You have anything? You say something, you want to say something?
If this isn't fair, why would you want to enter into a contract with the township?
Now, I fought to get back on this list. 3 years. I collected tow bills, okay? I got banned from one shop. I'm not allowed on their property. Okay? We have to send another truck to go pick up cars there. Okay? I'm not out here to badmouth anybody. But when an ordinance is made and people are overcharging, okay, originally, supposedly it's not in the ordinance, but you get, oh, I can get paid for that. Just like Dennis says, oh, there's things in there, if you read it, you can get paid for it. No, you can't get paid for it, because if it's not black and white, you could be held liable for it and get kicked off the thing. So all I'm saying, if a tow is X amount of dollars, let's put it at X amount of dollars. If we have cleanup, it's X amount of dollars. Winching with a car on the roof, it's not a basic tow. You know what I mean? It's not a basic tow. That's the only discrepancy I have.
But again,
I just got this new ordinance that I got is completely different than one I signed. That went back from 3 years ago. This is completely different. Completely different with the changes
This
and
has
everything.
been, to be fair, when your
What's that?
contract was awarded, it was made clear, and that because
It was
the
made clear
towers
how?
wanted the, let me finish.
Go ahead.
The towers wanted the rates increase. This discussion's been going on for months.
Right.
For a very long time. So the concern expressed by the towers at the time,
I wasn't involved at that time, but go ahead.
yes, the predecessor before you, who was just here,
Okay.
was, and the concern expressed at the time was, well, we're awarding a contract, we want the new ordinance to apply.
Okay.
That was what was requested, and administration said whatever council adopts will be incorporated into the new ordinance, including the new rates, not the old rates.
Okay.
So that issue,
Which was the key issue
right.
at that time, an increase in rates.
98% of the
Which I wasn't in here on that.
well,
on
maybe
that
you should have
topic.
been, but 98% of the discussion,
Well, I
at the
would have
ti-
been here, but when I originally put my application in December 31st when it was due, I was told to hold off on it when all those changes were to be
Right.
made and then apply the package.
well, all I'm saying is
So-
that the ordinance has been discussed in public for months at these meetings, and the bulk of the discussion for those months was the back and forth about the rates and fees and charges that were to be charged. Mr. Mull had made certain requests, and then they were discussed in an open forum, and ultimately council selected what they selected. But all I'm saying is that everyone was made aware at the time in public that the contract was being awarded, but that the new ordinance would apply. And again, that was at the tower's request, because they wanted the new rates, not the old rates.
Right. But there was a lot of other changes that are added, just like Andy pulled up about
Well,
not
I'm
answering the
I'm
telephone.
prepared to
Yeah.
address some of that, but you can finish.
Okay, yeah.
You can
know,
finish. And then-
cell phone service in Pemberton Township is horrible, okay? I'm sure that everybody on the council has missed a thing. Just like Ricky Gervais in that commercial, you don't want to have a parachute and not fly over Kansas because it might not open, okay? Same thing.
Well, again, my question is, does being
I don't
in a
have a-
contract with the township benefit your company? Yes or no?
How it benefits our company, it gives us collision work. That's how it benefits, okay, as far as collision work. As far as the impact pounds and go, we don't make any money. You make nothing on an impound. You make nothing on an impound. You get a piece of junk car, sits on your lot, and that's it. You gotta get rid of it, you know what I mean? You're supposed to in 7 days, contact Chief Janis for him to get the information, to do this and that, you know what I mean? You know, you make nothing on impounds at all.
And about how many tows do you get per contract?
I haven't been on
Okay,
contract for 3 years.
oh, right,
You know what I
okay.
mean? So, I mean, I have other contracts that I get plenty of those, you know, so, but, you know, I just pulled up other municipalities, okay, let's do apples and apples here, not apples and oranges, you know what I mean?
They're both fruit.
Yeah, they're both fruit, but, you know, somebody might be allergic to citrus, you know? But anyway, just to compare, just to show what prevailing tow rates are, okay? We have the same trucks, we have the same drivers, we have similar training, if not more, whatever. And we're all in business, okay? So, you know, that's pretty much all I got to say as far as that goes. I hope some of these things are addressed, and, you know, we'll just go from there, that's all.
Thank you.
Thank
Sir?
you.
My name is Rob DeCharleroy. I live in Serrano Trail in Browns Mills. Been a resident on and off since 1959. I was here and mentioned this before. I've seen a lot of improvement in this township. I've seen this improvement because businesses spend their money, take a gamble on the township, pay taxes, hire people, provide a service to the community. It's not the council's business to be the business people's enemy. This ordinance looks burdensome to me, looks overregulated, and expects these guys to be perfect, or they could lose their contract. Now, I'll admit this here because my wife's not here. I'm not even perfect. You can't ask for that. We need to let the business owners run their business, get out of their pockets, get out of their businesses, and let them be the assets to this community that they've been for years. They're in this business. I don't know for sure. I guess you guys haven't been in the towing business. I know I haven't. And I couldn't write a regulation because I haven't been in it. I talk to towers, and I find out what they need. So I don't hurt them when I write the regulations. Public servants need to serve public. Let's give it a shot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ed Smith. I've been in Pemberton Township since 1982. First thing is, the only person that I'm a disabled vet, and all disabled vets can't hear. Many things go boom. The only guy I can hear is Mr. Gonzalez because he uses his microphone and turns it up. And it's even worse in this room when the blowers are going that I can't hear one word that anyone says. But I've come out here really to stand up for some of the small businesses, the towers here. I've been here 4 times now. Yeah. And we're finally getting down to this regulation. This is terrible. The state law on predatory towing, I've run into a few predatory towers in my day, and I got ripped off pretty bad. But the township, none of them in Pemberton Township, by the way, these have always been pretty fair, all these guys. But this is too much regulation. This is crazy. This is about a dozen pages of fine print. Should be about 1 page of big print. It's just too much regulation. It's just not a way to do business. I know about regulation. I worked in healthcare most of my life, but I don't think even in healthcare we had anything this restrictive. This is just goes too far. It's just too much overreach administratively, and I would urge the township to just throw this out and come out with something simply worded, and let these people run their businesses and do their jobs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other hands, this closes this portion of the meeting. Council discussion. Council, we've received the ordinance, the updated ordinance. We've received proposed and recommended changes from a tower or two. We've discussed this. Is there any more discussion?
Andy had some comments. I'd like to hear what he had.
Well, I just wanted to give a little background. So the last year there was a litigation that was instituted by the first tower who came up here, who actually made these changes. He sued the township last year, and the lawsuit was about he was suspended for refusing to not for missing a call, but for refusing to go to a call because he had no available employees. And in the lawsuit, the litigant, the plaintiff in that case, argued that the ordinance was vague. The ordinance, not this version, the ordinance that was in place. The existing ordinance was vague because he argued that the only power that the township had was to terminate a tower's contract rather than to suspend them, because in his lawyer's view, the language in the ordinance was unclear, and that was the argument that one of the arguments he made to to invalidate the ordinance. And the trial court at the last year upheld the ordinance and said that A, it was enforceable, and B, that the township's actions in imposing the penalty for refusing to make the call were reasonable. And so we won the lawsuit. But the point is that for the purpose of your changes, that a lot of the changes that's called, quote, overregulation were meant to, were put in here so as to eliminate those kinds of arguments that the tower made last year, that the ordinance was too vague. So when the ordinance was, quote, vague, the tower used it to his advantage and argued it was too vague, you can't impose a penalty. So when it's made in more detail so that it's clear, then it becomes, quote, overregulation. So the purpose of the changes in the enforcement section, at least, were to clarify those rights. And the ordinance does not require that if there's a missed call that the tower is going to be suspended. It doesn't require that in any way. It just says, I don't know where that phone is. It's distracting me. That's weird. I've never heard a phone ring in here before.
Telemarketer. It did last or twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and at the end of the day, if any municipality, if let's say the example given, there's no cell coverage and there's a missed call because there's no cell coverage or the tower can show they didn't get the call, that the idea that you're going to get suspended for missing a call as a result of that is, first of all, if that happened, I don't think I'd want to be in the township's position in defending that lawsuit. And so any penalty that's imposed has to be reasonable. It can't be arbitrary and capricious. And so that all those protections are built in, because at the end of the day, if a municipality takes unreasonable or arbitrary decisions in connection with any contract, this mayor would always tell you he doesn't want to spend money on anything, no less paying like my law firm. But B, the answer is it would be a loser. So there are protections that are there, and as I said, a lot of the language was put in to rebut the arguments that were made last year in the court case by the tower. In terms of the hours, this is the other legal issue that was raised. The state regulation actually requires, or the state law requires, that the business be open at least 5 days a week, at least 5. So it's a floor, not a ceiling. To the extent the ordinance requires Saturday hours, it says, in the beginning part of the ordinance it says that the business shall be open at least 5 days, and then later in the ordinance it says you shall have certain hours, including Saturday 9 to 1. So having that half a day on the 6th day is not in violation of law, because the law is he has to be opened at least. So this is requiring 5.5 days, not 5. So it is consistent with law. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the fees and all that, I know we've had a lot of discussions for months about the fees, and that's not really a legal issue. That's really up to council as a policy decision, what fees you want to charge. I would just say that I think that Mr. Mull made a lot of requests on fee changes, and they were all discussed in a lot of detail, and he came up with a resolution. So that is where at least I am legally with respect to the ordinance.
Thank you.
I don't like it. I agree with a lot of the public comments, and I want to pull out a couple of things here for you that I didn't see before. Storage location. If we have a tower that's outside of the township, there's a 5-mile radius that they're supposed to be within from this building here. So they could be outside the township and still be in the borough or possibly Southampton. And it says if you have a storage location and it's located outside of Pemberton Township, it must meet or exceed those zoning regulations applicable to Pemberton Township. How can we mandate another